Welcome to another episode of the Dibbly Dobblers Cricket Podcast. As always, I am your main host, Callum, and as always, I'm joined by producer, director, dinner lady, carpenter.
That's stretching it. That's really stretching it.
Woodcutter.
Woodcutter and screwer together.
That's it. Andrew.
You alright?
I'm alright. I mean, the one thing I will apologise to our viewers, folk listening to the podcast, I'm in a t-shirt, which is a bit of a rare occurrence. I feel like I've also got shorts on, so the nipple game could be strong during this episode. So people might understand why I wear hoodies most of the time.
Wow.
I'm like a certain high school geography teacher. Way over the listener's head, but you get it.
I get it. We're giving context for the carpenter stuff for that. Improving my cricket club.
He is, he's just a saint, as Andrew. Made a step out of garden sleepers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a thing of beauty, but practicality.
No, absolutely.
It looks
function
like
over form.
The Neds are not going to be able to pick that up and run off with it.
I reckon it's a two-man left.
Excellent. Good job. I'm picking you. Good job. I was going to say I'm picking you up, but you're driving. But
Yes,
I'm coming here.
I'm not sure it'd fit in your car, to be fair.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah.
I can hardly fit much more than my cricket bag in my car. It's not great when I have to do the driving.
Yeah.
But, what I must start the episode with, though, Andrew, is I do owe you a public apology.
Oh, you absolutely do. You're right.
You do. Dropped the dolliest of dollies. I'm just going to assume it's because I was fat and tired. I don't know what else.
I'm still a bit fizzing with you, to be perfectly honest.
I think actually what it really is that, I just couldn't have you having better figures than me. So
well, that was never going to happen with the amount of runs I conceded. So
I know, Christ. I wish when I was batting I was facing you, Andrew. Christ, Jesus. Nah, they probably still just blocked those full tosses. And I'm like, no, I'm none of that. Can't get out to that embarrassment. Just defend that.
I did eventually get the wicket that I should have had about 3 overs earlier.
Oh, God, you still not stopped going on about it. I've said sorry. What more do you want?
Just for you to catch the blooming ball. That's all.
Well, it was, it wasn't the team ethos at the weekend to actually catch the ball.
It clearly wasn't. No, we another defeat for us this weekend, but
less
a
disgrace.
better performance.
We got beat effectively by a player the standard up, so
yeah,
we
absolutely
can live with that. So
we can. You're right.
So clearly at least me returning didn't bring the win, but it brought some credibility to the team.
The win's coming this week.
Absolutely,
it's coming this week.
I can't guarantee the catches, but the win
will come. Yeah.
So now that's out of the way, we should really get on with the actual podcast.
We should, yes. So, our week 2 team of the week is what's up first?
Aye, team of the week. Right, so we actually had a full set of games went on at the weekend.
Yep.
In all divisions. Don't think I saw any games cancelled.
No, don't think so.
So we had lots to choose from. It was pretty much slim picking first innings stuff we had in the first week. So, you want to bring it up on the screen, Andrew?
Yeah, I think there was probably 14 or 15 performances that were in contention for it this week, which we had to make decisions.
We did, yeah, because I think it was probably fairly straightforward from memory last week.
Yeah, it was.
But there was a couple of people with forfers that didn't get in, couple of 50 plus, and not just a 50, couple of sort of 60s and things that didn't make the cut. So that kind of tells you about the standard. And we had a first couple of 5-fers, so early in the same game.
Indeed, yeah, we did. So they came in the Arbroath against Dundee High School, and you can see Bruce Pritchard of Arbroath took 5 for 31 off his 9 overs, and Jamal Chowdhury of Dundee High took 5 for 37 off his 9. So yeah, two 5-fers, they get straight into the team of the week.
Yep. If they could get the scorecards in earlier, that would be excellent, so we don't have to change our team of the week.
Yes, because they were late additions. Yeah.
Yes, and not avid Twitter users either, so you can't even really follow what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and Lee Patterson also got a 78, defying the fifers there in that. I think that was actually one of them that was a 69 in that game. So, aye, so some good batting and bowling.
Yeah, 3 tons in there as well. So Leonard Bester of Stonywood Dice got 127 not out against Falkland.
Yeah, Raju Gayashan for Meagle got 129 off 96. It was clearly a day for a score in the 20s off 90
120
odd
odd off 90 odd, yeah. Because Safi and Sharif got 123 off 91 against Perth Ducat, and he also took 3 for 30 with the ball.
Aye. Decent player, to be fair. So
yeah, I mean, we've said it before, he is far too good a player to be playing at that level, but most of the pros are, to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that, this year. We're going to see pros, and I mean, he's probably featuring.
You've got Raju in there for the second week in a row.
Yeah.
For example.
Well, I noticed one of them is a friendly game on the new live score system. He's already scored 300 runs for the year.
Yeah.
Because he got a 40, I think, through the week. So in the T20, which the T20s, just in case anyone's thinking, because there was a couple of good performances in that. They're not considered in this week's Team of the Week.
Our weeks are Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Working week. Well,
yeah.
And the weekend, obviously. But
yeah,
so they'll, in case you're up in arms about them being missing, they'll come into contention. Plus, it means if we have to change the night we're recording, it doesn't chop and change whether we consider it or not.
Yeah. So, for those of you that are not watching on YouTube, so don't see the graphic, the Team of the Week in full is Craig Wallace for the second week in a row. He got 72 off 42 against Stu Melt. Abrar Ahmed, 80 off 67 against Stonywood Dice 2s. Apologies. Stonywood Dice 2s for Gordonians. Safian Sharif, as we've discussed, then Raju Gayashan. Lee Patterson of Arbroath, that's 78 that we mentioned, and then Leonard Bester for his 127 not out. Hasib Kiani for the second week in a row makes the Team of the Week. He scored 48 and took 4 for 35 for Strathmore against Kinloch. I'm struggling to name teams tonight. It's not going very well.
Doesn't normally when you talk, Andrew.
It doesn't, you're right. Jack Hogarth of Forfarshire, he took 4 for 22 against Stu Mel. And then another Stonywood Dice performance against Falkland, Nikhil Ninan, he took 4 for 20. And then the 2 fifers that we mentioned from Bruce Pritchard and Jamal Chowdhury complete the Team of the Week.
All right. Would you like my graphic this week, Andrew?
I think your graphic is absolutely excellent. It's great that we've got all the information there.
I know. It's wonderful.
Meant that I could just look in one place rather than going between notes and then the graphic.
Well, you're doing all the producing and directing. I thought, better up the graphic game. So something, even more reason to get us on YouTube if you're not watching us on YouTube, because then you can see the pretty graphics.
Absolutely.
Oh, and now they can see our pretty face. That's unfortunate for them. All the viewers are like, put the graphics back, please. Oh my God.
Well, do you want the Player of the Week graphic to come up now then, do we?
Well, we probably should.
Yeah, I mean, it was the big contribution with the bat and a decent contribution with the ball. He's far too good for the level he's playing at. But Player of the Week, Safian Sharif for his 123 off 91 balls and his 3 for 30 off 9 overs against Perth Ducat in a pretty tight victory, actually. Ducat ran them fairly close.
Well, and also, I mean, Falkland, sorry, not Falkland. That's the worst team to slip up when you're talking about Fruki. Fruki had a monster at the end as well, in terms of just piled on the runs towards the end. Mosen went for 53 off 2 overs. Not sure why he was bowling at the death, mind you, but I'm assuming there was maybe a miscalculation on overs or something. So I mean, those late flurry of runs kind of really got them over the line in the end. I think having the quality of Sharif really just was too much in the end for Perth Ducat. Yeah,
and he's going to do that to plenty of teams in the NEC this year, I would suspect.
Yeah, not gutted to have moved down to Division 1, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Forfarshire managed to keep him fairly quiet in week 1, to their credit, but
Yeah. I can't remember what his results were, but yeah. I suppose you've probably got to get him early. Will be the big key, especially with the bat. And
Yes.
you're probably
Yeah,
just
you do.
trying to see him off for his 9 overs with the ball. But I think a well-deserved player of the week.
Absolutely. Right. So, just after our podcast last week was recorded, Scotland announced their squad, which is going to travel to Texas to face the USA and the UAE, the first one-day internationals to be played in Texas. Exciting times.
Aye, I mean, I would imagine. I can just imagine the face of some like proper redneck Texans driving by a field of like, what is that?
It's like baseball, but wrong.
But they bounced the ball. What is this?
Yeah.
But so I mean, credit to the Americans because they're getting, we've seen these major league stadium expansions. It's something we kind of touched on briefly before on this podcast about what they're doing and maybe whether Scotland could try and follow some suit with it.
Yeah.
But, and that's credit that they're able to hold games in multiple locations already at this stage. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. No idea what conditions will be like in Texas, to be honest. I don't know. I'd imagine either like Australian, South African hard road decks, or just like really dry and spin friendly.
Yeah. Almost sort of subcontinental type.
So that's when the live stream goes on. It's just green, and you're like, oh right, it's an Astro.
Well, I mean, let's have a look at the Scotland squad then. So, you've got skippered by Kyle Coates, Richie Berrington, Dylan Budge, Matthew Cross, Ollie Davidson, Chris Greaves, Michael Lees, Callum MacLeod, Gavin Main, George Munsey, Adrian Neil, Safian Sharif, Chris Soule, and Hamza Tahir. And Brad Curry is a travelling reserve as well.
Yeah, so obviously missing some of the usual county faces. I
Yes.
just think one of the things, at points during this podcast, we will probably not always have the best things to say about Cricket Scotland and their communication. But actually, one of the things I really liked, and I was just bringing it up on my laptop, was about the squad announcement, was they actually told you about the players who were omitted from the squad.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is because Cricket Scotland have actually been historically not the best communicators, it actually lets us know what's going on. Why are these players? And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people who know about Scottish cricket in depth who will understand why these players are not playing. But I think this is a step in the right direction, explaining why they're not, because we're trying to attract new cricket fans, and actually clear and transparent communication about what's going on, I think, is quite a key part to that. But yeah, I mean, it's predominantly, I think there was Hamza Tahir's travelling back. He's missing the final game because he's getting married.
All right,
so
okay.
Congratulations to him for that. And I'm just trying to bring the bit up where... Yeah, so they had a squad notes section. So Michael Jones, Brad Wheel, Josh Davey, George Scott and Rory Smith were all unavailable for selection. I'm not sure all of them would necessarily have been selected anyway, but due to county commitments. Mark Watt due to Derbyshire's T20 Blast.
Yeah.
Finn
and he's, I guess, the big miss.
Yeah.
He's the one that we kind of were used to seeing in all the squads.
I could maybe circle back to that because I know we've had a wee conversation off air about that. Finn McCree was injured in Dubai. Chris McBride is university commitments. Shows the sort of, I suppose, still what the level, even for one of the top associate nations, that's still got to contend with that. And then, there's the Hamza Tahir missing the final game. But to come back to the Mark Watt point, is obviously you'd sort of said about, when we saw this squad, you were like, oh, Mark Watt is missing, because we had sort of chatted about would he be missing and would he not. And actually, I think, given that it's fair to say Mark Watt's one of our frontline bowlers, I think this shows you where Scottish cricket has moved on, because I think in days gone by, if we were missing somebody who was deemed to be a really frontline bowler, I think it would be like, oh, right, there's a really obvious hole in the squad.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you wouldn't rather have him there, but I'm not actually convinced there's that obvious. It's not as
absolutely.
obvious
I
a
mean,
hole.
when you can replace him with Chris Greaves, who performed really well in the World Cup. She's another really strong spin option and is better with the bat than Watt.
Yeah.
You're right. You probably lose a little bit in the flexibility that Watt gives you in terms of where he can bowl.
Yeah.
But it's not a massive difference.
No, I don't. And the thing is obviously we're saying we don't know what the pitches are going to be like in Texas. You may also not want to play two spinners. Well, you will always play two spinners because Leask is going to be selected.
Yes.
So, and Leask has come on so much with the ball that I'm not, unless they're really dry and turn like mad, I would have possibly been surprised to see Tahir and Watt and Leask all playing in these games. I would assume we're going to find something a bit more seam friendly, but I could be wrong on that front, of course.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be the first time?
It certainly wouldn't. And I suppose interesting or selection of note was 17-year-old Ollie Davidson in the squad for the first time.
Yep.
So he's a left-arm spinning all-rounder, although primarily a bat, I believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was always kind of my impression. I'm sure he opened the batting in the World Cup recently with the under-19s.
I could not honestly tell you for sure.
Again, could be totally wrong, but that's what sticks in my head. But yeah, the assumption is because Tahir is missing the final game, I would assume they're bringing Davidson along to potentially play in that final game. Left arm spinner, that would be my assumption is kind of why he's there. But yeah, it's the batting side of the squad is much of it's kind of what you would expect.
Yeah,
really. Even the guys that you go from the county side that would have been picked, they're all bowlers. It's really it's Mark Watt, Josh Davey, Brad Wheel. They're the three that you go. They're definitely going to be selected. The other ones, well, whether they would, I don't know. I know Michael Jones scored some runs in the county championship recently, but whether that would have been enough to earn a spot, not sure.
Format, yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Gavin Main and Adrian Neil both did really well as seam bowling options.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see they've gone back to Chris Soule, who I know is kind of always touted for having a bit of extra pace compared to some other Scottish bowlers, which does also make me wonder, are they expecting hard pitches?
Who would you have gone if not Soule? I mean, the only other seamer that's been about has been Ali Evans, but I personally think Evans Scotland days should probably be behind him.
Yeah, it's one of those though when I've not got the stats up in front of me, but it's when looked at how the last 12 months went, and actually you do look at Ali Evans' stats and you go, he's maybe a bit unlucky to have just completely fallen away. It's a fair point. Who would you have picked? It's easy to always go, oh well, it's surprising to see. But yeah, as I say, I mean, you'd have Wheel and Davey would undoubtedly be there ahead, but
yeah,
I don't know. No.
Yeah. I guess one thing, sort of moving on from this discussion, I suppose something that was announced today, Brad Wheel is off on loan from Hampshire to Gloucestershire. I didn't see for how long, but he's straight into their squad for the game against Somerset this week. So hopefully we'll see him in action in the county championship over the next few weeks, because he hasn't had a shot yet because Hampshire have a quite ridiculously strong seam bowling attack, don't they? Yeah,
their depth is very strong. And I still think Wheel might... one of Wheel's problems is half of them bat as well, which doesn't really help his case. So yeah, it's excellent to see that he's getting that opportunity to go and play elsewhere. And usually these loan moves mean you're going to go and play. You're not often likely to just get loaned to then go and sit on the sidelines as well. So and it's good standard as well. It's,
absolutely,
in Division 1. So Yeah, so hopefully he can do well there, and but
potential wheel against Davy this weekend. It's
very true.
Gloucestershire against Somerset.
Yep, good fact you wheeled out there.
Absolutely, the wee West Country derby.
Where I can never even remember.
Gloucestershire play in Bristol.
So they do. That's terrible knowledge.
Very close to Somerset.
I know that much. It's always one of these counties that I'm like, wait, which one's that again?
Yeah.
I don't know why, because Bristol's a pretty obvious city, but
yeah.
I walk about half asleep, that's the problem. Hence why I dropped your catch.
Indeed.
But yeah, I think, so what do you think? Another 4 from 4, should that be Scotland's target?
Absolutely has to be the aim. I mean, without being arrogant, 4 from 4 has to be the aim for every series that Scotland go into in this, because they should be the best team in the CWC League 2.
Yes, yeah, they should be.
So yeah, it has to be go there 4 from 4. Absolutely has to be the target.
And just how many runs do you think Richie Berrington's going to score in this one?
700.
700. Jesus Christ. No pressure, Richie, but 700.
But yeah, 175 each game. Thank you. No, legitimately, 350.
I was going to say 300. So yeah, I think. Yeah, the fact that coming off the back of such a recent series, which is one of the things I really like about this, is Scotland are actually getting consistency of fixtures.
Yeah.
It's good to see, but it does also mean you can kind of carry form, which I think that's been one of the problems, is it's like, yeah, you've been good that series, but congratulations, you're playing 6 months' time. So,
yeah. And hopefully Matty Cross can pick up his form again. He scored a nice 160 odd at the weekend domestically, so hopefully he can bring that back to the international stage too. Yeah,
and I suppose that's that's probably one of the other interesting points about the squad, is the fact that no other wicketkeeper has been selected. So, I mean, you really are relying on him, and if he goes down, I don't know, probably Richie Berrington. It wouldn't surprise me if he went behind the stumps, but
it'll be one of the all-rounders.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of good good fielders in there, but I mean, Kyle Coates' brother keeps wickets, so maybe Sean's been giving Kyle some tips over the years, and he can don the gloves. But 4 from 4. I think that anything else is a disappointment, really. Even with America's improvements or USA's improvements, I think it's still.
Oh, they're still a very much mid-table side at the moment. So yeah,
they also seem to have a bit of an inconsistency in the squad. We've seen some ex-West Indies internationalists and stuff, but I think Xavier Marshall's now no longer in the squad and things, and they do seem to have a fairly high turnover of players. I think it was the last series that they played in. It seemed like about 2/3 of their squad wasn't in the previous one, or roughly. It was something like that. So that's the fact that Scotland's squad now is fairly consistent. There'll be the odd change per squad, but these guys have been plying their trade together for years now, and I think that is a big bonus they have over many of the other teams. But all the best to the Scotland guys. I did look up how much it would cost me to go out for the week, but when the flights were £950, I was like,
bit much.
Can I justify that?
Bit much.
So, if that person who won 184 million on the Euro Millions, if you would like to buy my flights, I'm no bothered about Andrew, but
oh dear, yeah,
I could come to you live in Texas.
That would be quality.
That would be.
Anyway, yes, all the best to Scotland for that series at the back end of the month, and yeah. Anything less than 4 and 4, then you're not welcome home.
Wow. Oh my word. Wow. Jesus.
I jest. Anyway, let's take our chat.
You don't.
Let's take our chat south of the border. England are on the verge of appointing a new test match coach.
Oh Christ,
Oh Christ, aye.
Sorry, is this out loud?
And yeah, according to BBC Sport today, England are poised to appoint Brendan McCullum as the new test match coach, the new red ball coach. He was initially linked with the white ball job, but it seems that the red one is the one he's getting. What do you make of it?
I'm not buying it. That's nah.
Nah, just nah.
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 Just...
So I think the experience that McCullum's got is he's basically been in charge of 2 franchises in T20 cricket. So he's been in charge of the Calcutta Knight Riders and the Trinbago Knight Riders. Won the CPL with TKR. KKR got quite far in the playoffs.
If you keep using these initials, I might have to ask you to leave the show.
It's better than saying it out.
Danny Morrison.
Well, I can't just say Knight Riders because it's both of them.
David Hasselhoff might appear.
Calcutta made it into the playoffs last year, not having such a strong year this year. But, I mean, there was the whole mega auction between the 2 years, so quite unsettled squad and things. So I can understand why it might be trickier to sustain the performance. But he has no red ball experience, and that's the key for me.
Yeah, I think one of my concerns with it is he has no red ball experience. I'll come back onto that side of it. I think you might have to live with that going forward. I saw some rubbish about he was the captain at the start of the sort of West Indies, New Zealand sort of revolution in Test cricket. Yeah, I mean, that's strictly speaking true, but I think I'm not sure I'm crediting him with massive amounts of what has subsequently happened. And I think you look at all the issues that the England squad have got and how Brendan McCullum personally approached the game, because that's the only thing you can really judge him on, is how he captained and how he approached Test cricket. And I think he is absolutely the wrong character for what England need. England needs somebody who's actually going to get guys to knuckle down and take ownership of their responsibility and what they have to do. And he was an exciting player to watch. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's got a good cricketing brain as well. But I just don't buy that, if they'd come along and gone, it's Raul Dravid, you'd have gone, I can see how you go, the struggles that England have had and the way that he played, you see how that can tie together. To me, unless he's something staggeringly different as a coach, just welcome to England 150 all out all over again.
Yeah. I do have a concern that there's a lot of talk of Stokes and McCullum is a very exciting prospect because they'll both approach the game positively and aggressively, but I don't think that is what this England side need. Stokes is the right choice as captain.
I think it was
ultimately
the only choice. We've talked about that before.
But I would much rather have seen someone with a more reserved approach to be brought in as the coach, or an established red ball coach. Whether they'd established themselves at domestic level somewhere or as an international coach elsewhere. I certainly, with Gary Kirsten available, would not have picked Brendan McCullum over him.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know, and whether we'll ever find out, it'd be interesting to know how many of these other guys did they withdraw from the process. Was McCullum first choice, these kind of things.
Yeah.
I honestly look at it and think, if McCullum was first choice, I just don't understand it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
It's and you kind of do go, why are you not looking at the domestic? If you're going to go down that road, and why not a domestic player, like a domestic coach?
Yeah.
At least Ricky Ponting, he's got the same issue of not being, a red ball coach. But he was one of the most successful captains in Test cricket ever. Yes.
So he has the experience of leading. And yes, as I said, that McCullum has captaincy experience in red ball cricket, and played 100-odd tests or whatever it was. But not for the same sustained amount of time as Ponting.
mean, if
Yeah.
you look at that, if you go to 100 odd tests and things like that, and I know his name was kind of in the frame, and I can't remember if he pulled out, but Alex Stewart, why, he had 100 odd tests. Like, I argued he did have some of the characteristics of that gritty, hard sort of guy that would really be knuckling down. And I don't know. I'm just not really convinced about this move.
Is there an issue on the horizon when it comes to the likes of your England, Australia, and India? We'll take the three big test nations. When they come to appointing coaches, with the importance of the franchise cricket, or sort of the prevalence of franchise cricket, and the fact that these sort of super coaches, or whatever you want to call them, are much more drawn to franchise cricket than sort of cutting their teeth in domestic first-class cricket.
Yeah.
Is this an issue going forward?
Absolutely, it's an issue going forward. I remember hearing an interview Ricky Ponting did just after the Ashes, and they sort of... Well, he was actually in the interview on the basis of potentially becoming the Australia coach, because already at that point there was the conversations.
Yeah.
And he basically said, he's like, why would it was like, why would I do that? I can go and earn millions going and doing the franchise cricket, which is like 4 months of the year, and I can still go and do media commitments. I can still go and pick and choose and do things like that. Why would you probably go and earn less money and have a 12 months of a year job?
Yeah.
Because I get that...
hardly see your family. And
I mean, I get that they're splitting the posts, but you're still going to be involved in it, especially for England. And all the big three, they still play a lot of test match cricket. And there has to become an expectation for me, if you're starting splitting the roles, you have to be starting to expect that red ball coach to go in when the county championship's on, and if England aren't playing, they should be going around and actually having a look at players.
Yeah.
And some of the intense workload might not be there, but it's still going to be a pretty full on, like in terms of hours, it's still going to be pretty full on. But I do think this is going to be a problem, because why would you not? Why would you give up all that time away from your family? Especially because there seems to be a massive lack of confidence in English coaches as well. Which I think this is more a problem that England have than necessarily some of the other countries. Although India have had a lot of non-Indian coaches over the years as well. But if there's not the confidence, it's guys that may live in Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, wherever, and they have to uproot, and they might not want to uproot their family, so they're not seeing them. I just, I think this is going to become a problem.
So I hope he does well, but kind of expecting it to be same old England really over the next couple of years. Yeah.
Does this reek a little bit of Rob Key trying to come up with this really flash, by getting a big name in, by getting an exciting name in? Because if Ponting and the likes told him no, is this the only big name he could get that would do it? And do you think some of that's come into it?
I don't know. Possibly. I think it's a valid point. In terms of how much do I actually believe that, I don't know. I watched Key did a sit down with Nasser Hussain for Sky the other day. I think it actually got released yesterday. Which I sat and watched yesterday. And I mean, I think Rob Key can speak quite well at times. I thought he spoke quite well through. Yeah. Not my favourite commentator, but at the same time he does speak a lot of sense at times as well. Yeah, I didn't get the impression from that he was necessarily after a big name. He very much made it clear he was after who he felt was the best man to do the job. But could he have just kind of gone, well, I'm not getting Ponting, I'm not getting Langer, and just gone, right, well, McCullum's a big name, then yeah, possibly.
I just think there was a lot of pressure on the fact that Rob Key was appointed in himself. Yeah. There was like, you've got no experience, and a lot of people were very critical of it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, get a big name in to be the coach and you take some pressure off yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong on that, but it reeks to me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But we will see how he goes.
Anyway, it's predictions time.
That was predictable.
Hey. Right. So we started the prediction league last week between the two of us, and we both predicted the same games, the same winners, and we got them all right, didn't
Geniuses.
we? Here they are.
Geniuses.
I mean, it was all pretty straightforward stuff. Obviously, we both had jokers to play. We both got them right. So, yeah, that went quite well. So here are the scores after 1 week. It is an unsurprising 7-7. Great stuff.
I mean, yeah. I think it was a pretty straightforward week.
It was. Right, so this week our NEC fixtures are Meagle versus Arbroath, Forfarshire against Perth Ducat, Fruki against Dundee High School, Aberdeenshire Gordonians, Strathmore Huntly, Stonywood Dice against Kinloch.
Yep.
What stands out to you there?
Yeah, I actually think there's probably 3 fixtures in that I see as they're not dead certs to me. I mean, Meagle versus Arbroath and Fruki Dundee High, I think are just utterly one-sided contests all day long. Yeah. Like, I mean, it could be a bit embarrassing.
300 plays 100.
Oh, absolutely. They both have that. I mean, Meagle have been in excellent form with the bat. Obviously, Raju scored a lot of runs, team of the week twice. But, you know, Alan Neve got his massive score. Okay, followed it up with 1 this week. But
he's still averaging 75 across.
I mean, it's no bad.
No, he's not. He's averaging 150. He was not out the first week.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So, and, you know, they've been doing well. And, and Fruki are, you know, we said that they're 2 of the leading teams and probably who I would back to be 1 and 2, actually. So,
yes.
And to be honest, Arbroath and Dundee High are potentially 2. Dundee High are going to be bottom, but Arbroath will be there or thereabout, I would have thought, for being next. So, yeah, they're very one-sided. I'd say Strathmore Huntly is likely to be... It should be fairly comfortable for Strathmore. I'm not convinced it'll be 300-100, but I'd still expect a relatively comfortable result, particularly because Strathmore are at home.
Yes.
So yeah, you're then on to Forfarshire, Perth Ducat. Perth Ducat had a big result against Arbroath.
In the T20s last night.
Yeah. I think it would be fair to say that I'm not sure it was the strongest Arbroath side out in the world, but still, it was the Arbroath first 11 is what they're competing as.
Yep.
I don't know what Arbroath's approach to the competition is. Maybe that they're not viewing it that way, but it is the CS, you know, the qualifier. So you've got Aberdeenshire versus Gordonians, and then Stonywood Dice versus Kinloch. I think of those 3, Ducat, they should beat Forfarshire, but Forfarshire have got the ability within their squad to overcome them. And Ducat over the years have had the ability to just not perform as well.
Yes, I mean, it does. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, Gordonians and Aberdeenshire, we talked about this, they should be up there, both of them. This is probably a big game early in the season. It's probably the biggest game we've had so far this season, I would say. So you've got 2 genuine contenders going head-to-head. And then Stonywood Dice v Kinloch. Yeah, kind of middle ground sort of teams, I think.
So we'll bring our predictions up on the screen. So we are in agreement when it comes to the first 5. So we've both predicted wins for Meagle, Perth Ducat, Fruki, Aberdeenshire and Strathmore. And then we're split on the last one. So I've gone for Stonywood Dice and you have gone for Kinloch. It's your turn to play your joker first.
Well, I just take Meagle and you can have Fruki then, is that?
I mean, you decide what one you want. Yeah.
I'll have Meagle.
Right, okay, I'll take Fruki, yeah. Happy days.
Yeah, I think that's unsurprising. Yeah, I think I did. We did ale and off air to start with them. I think we did have all 6, but I was so torn on the bottom when I was like, sod it, we'll just have something different. Because I was so just like tossing and turning between the two, and I was like, yeah, whatever, we'll just have something different.
Yeah.
So we are guaranteed to have different scores next week. Oh well, no, I suppose we technically there are ways that
Well, it could. Are there?
Are there? Or maybe not. No, there aren't. So no, we have to have different scores.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if one joker lost.
But
Yeah, if you, I don't know. That's just too confusing.
If your joker lost, but you won the bottom one,
Aye, I think that would result in the same points.
you'd.
That's too late at night. It's 10:10, which is awfully early for us recording. But
Yes, you would end up with the same because
Yeah.
you'd both drop 2 points.
I think we're likely to end up with different points. But
Indeed. Yeah.
we shall see.
Yes.
And as always, if you have different predictions, then let us know on Twitter or in the comments below on YouTube.
Indeed. Yeah. On the Twitter at DibDobPod, you'll get. Let's be honest, you'll get me there because it's just me that does that.
I've kind of phased it out of that entirely.
You'll get him at DibDogCal occasionally.
I'll probably not respond to you. So.
But yeah, get us at DibDobPod on Twitter. Like, share, subscribe, comment, review, all of these things.
Don't review, Christ.
Yeah, and thank you once again for joining us, and we will speak to you again next week.
Bye, everyone.